Brady came to me and said that he wanted to tell a story of an architect and his relationship to an investor.
What is this? Who are you?
Laszlo Toth.
They both have big egos, both intellectuals. They meet in that equal level of ambition.
There's a little bit of a cobra dance between these two, where there's a sort of mutual respect. There's also hostility.
And then it turns into something quite gruesome.
I play Laszlo Toth, who is a remarkable architect who comes to America seeking a better life. It's really the story of how the fabric of America has been built. Nothing is as we imagine it to be.
That promised land of America becomes more complex and difficult, with great highs and also incredible lows.
I came to America from Norway, and I was excited to the freedom that you have in reinventing yourself. There was an opportunity for me in America to build a career. A lot of people come with this idea that anything is possible. But then, of course, capitalism is brutal.
It is a story of survival, but it's also about what it is to be an artist. It's a story of love, of defiance.
And filmed in VistaVision, which has not been done in American film since 1961, I believe. It's several hundred pounds of film. It's 22 reels.
The field of view of VistaVision is so immense that you can be physically close to a building and you can see from the ground all the way to the sky.
It's a remarkable film that I think would resonate to anybody who values and respects the need to bring in more light to the world than darkness.
Laszlo, Belek. From the beginning of the film, the very moment that you hear Elizabeth's voice, Brady is intimately connecting these two characters. You can feel that there is a deep, deep connection.
In this sequence, you hear this note before he's read it. She just sort of haunts the scene.
Excuse me, sorry.
A szovjetek segítettek nekünk átköltözni egy vasközeli menekülttáborba. Arra biztatnak, hogy élvezzük a szabadságunkat.
You had this intimate moment with her voice, telling you her story and what she's been through.
The past and present and everything is swirling around. It's teaching viewers the grammar of the movie.
It invites you in a very visceral way of what the immigrant experience is, arriving to a new land, packed on a vessel, with hopes and dreams, with chaos and noise. This is a very choreographed journey with hundreds of extras on a ship and a structure, so it feels very much like that experience. It's beautifully done. Lowell Crawley, our DP, did just a beautiful job with this.
Brady had a very clear idea that he wanted this sequence to feel visceral and alive. We don't quite know where we are. We don't quite know who we're seeing. The moment here where Laszlo is ascending the stairs, I'm literally pulling myself up with one hand on these steep railings whilst operating the film camera.
Another thing that I found quite brilliant with Brady is he used score that he had already created with Daniel.
Brady and I were working on a demo, and the idea was that he could play it on the speakers so that Adrien could really feel like the choreography could immediately be associated with the score and the tempo.
Daniel found this extraordinary thing where it goes from this foreboding, unsettling pattern where you feel like you're in the belly of the beast.
By the end of it, he's kind of spat out into this bright light.
When it cracks wide open, the score becomes panoramic.
We get out to the deck of the ship and we are elated and we see we've arrived. And we see the Statue of Liberty in this skewed angle. Just so powerful and not quite expressing liberty in its fullest form. It's a little skewed.
This is the Christmas monologues.
Christmas monologues, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
A wonderful moment. This is one of my favorite scenes in the film.
There you are, man of the hour.
Laszlo is invited to Van Buren's estate. He's given something to wear, and Van Buren starts to open up about a very personal story, and it's quite revealing.
Shortly before their death, my mother's parents, I hesitate to call them my grandparents, they reached out to Margaret and me after reading an article on the reported success of my first company.
I sit down with him in a rather intimate little setting, and I tell him this story about quite personal stuff that he offers up, which is unlike Van Buren.
It's an intimate conversation, but it's happening in basically the foyer of the mansion. But when you watch the scene, there's people crossing in all the different directions. So it's probably about as intimate as a meeting with someone like Harrison would get.
This is one of the scenes that we rewrote the most, I would say.
Yeah.
We reworked these two speeches multiple times to find that perfect balance of, as Brady called it, this cobra dance between these two.
They see that they share something in common, and they're both sort of auditioning each other's philosophies.
I'd made them out a check for the amount of $25,000. When I handed it over, I asked them a question. What will you do with all this money?
Van Buren's testing people all the time because those kinds of people with power can dismiss people at will because they have the money to do it.
Answer me something. Why architecture?
What I love about Adrien's performance
Is it a test?
is he says this is a test, but then he clearly demonstrates, or in that moment, that he's up for it.
No, it is not.
So there's an element of danger that it is very much in Van Buren's nature to bite if prompted.
He catches me out, and that's what's impressive about it. He's got the balls to sort of stand up to me.
Is there a better description of a cube than that of its construction?
Van Buren clearly expresses a great deal of fascination with Laszlo and his work and curiosity about his past. Laszlo quite eloquently reveals what motivates him.
There was a war on, and yet it is my understanding that many of the sites of my projects had survived. They remain there, still in the city.
He's up for the test, and he's gonna ace it, or he's gonna win. So he thinks.
He thinks that he can navigate this guy.
Buildings were devised to endure such erosion, the Danube shoreline.
What a poetic reply.
Van Buren genuinely recognizes beauty in the world. He genuinely recognizes artistry.
It is beautiful, no?
And this is why when he comes across Laszlo Toth, it's almost like finding a beautiful creature in the zoo.
There are many interesting layers in Van Buren that Guy exposes and has discovered.
Adrien I didn't know before, but I just sat there every day going, wow, I'm getting my own Adrien Brody show here. This is so impressive, 3 feet in front of me. So, we had many discussions about where power sits between these two gentlemen and what they kind of think of each other, what kind of dance we're doing with each other, and how vulnerable we are with each other at certain times, and how much we need to protect ourselves from each other.
It's an important scene because it leads up to
Everyone, please.
Harrison offering him a second chance to start his life over in America.
On this site, we plan to build a center for the community. And Mr. Toth, I would like you to build this.
It's quite sensorial, the scene. It's quite seductive. Like, we try to make it as lovely as possible to exist in the universe of that Christmas party. Like what Stanley does in Eyes Wide Shut. That was very much on our mind when we were shooting that.
It speaks a lot to kind of egregious capitalism. The many contributions made by artists and artisans, usually of foreign descent, are bestowed upon the patron. And the patron receives the recognition for their great taste. This is part of life. The two of them kind of need each other. As things unfold, that when you listen to one another, there are truths that are uncovered. It's a special thing, and this film is filled with gems like that.
Listen, it is no coincidence
that fate brought us together.